Welcome to Horror Boys. It's a podcast on the internet. I'm Austin, joined as always by
Chris.
And we are the Horror Boys. And this isn't just any old podcast on this old internet. This is specifically a horror movie review podcast where every week we review a horror movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the intro. I'm getting it down packed. I know it now.
What are we reviewing this week?
Yeah. Oh. We're talking about ThanksKilling, because this Thursday's Thanksgiving, guys. I have to remember that I'll address it here. Chris doesn't even know this, but I added in like a soundbite of me talking on the last episode to explain the issue with remember we had the whole discussion about the time, like what week this was coming out, the date last week. We were both really confused. Yeah, I figured it out. We're stupid. Thanksgiving is the 24th, and this is coming out the 21st. But for some reason, we're talking about the 17th. It was really confusing. But here we are talking about ThanksKilling today because Thanksgiving's coming up.
Yeah, it is.
All right, let me talk about the people who made this movie.
Yeah.
This movie was directed and co-written by Jordan Downey. Its cinematography and other co-writer was Kevin Stewart, who is one of the few people on the thing that's had any bit of anything in his career. He cinematographed a little bit on some other stuff, as well as did some just general camera work on some Funny or Die videos. That's about it.
Cool.
Our composer is Kashmir Royale.
Oh. That sounds like a stripper name. But alright.
I don't know. And our special effects makeup was done by Troy Smith, and then our key makeup artist was Amy Morgan. I believe she was also the production designer. Yeah. Well, I guess let's start the movie. I normally would give more little backstage, behind-the-scenes info, but this movie has, none. Just doesn't exist.
Who'd have thought? Yeah.
This movie did come out in 2000, I believe, 8. I guess I'll add that here, and I'll bring it up, I guess. I don't normally do that, but I'm just trying to... I have a feeling this podcast is going to be short, so I'm trying to add a couple extra little bits of information if I have any...
Yeah.
All right, let's start the movie.
Gonna be like a half an hour podcast.
I'm hoping at least 45 minutes.
Because this movie's only
an hour and
4 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We open with some text on the screen telling us we're in the year 1621, right after the first Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Then we transition into a close-up of a boob.
Yep, because that's what this movie is.
Well, I mean, it isn't.
It is, and also,
yeah, it is in the sense that it's that low brow, sure, but this is the only nudity in the movie is this scene.
Yeah, don't expect any more boobies for the rest of the movie. Yeah. This was, they're putting it all on the front. Really front-loading this movie.
Yeah, after we get the close-up of the nipple, we zoom out to see the full topless pilgrim running away from something. The pilgrim was played by Wanda Lust, who is an adult film star.
Who'd have thought?
Did not write down her work because I don't think people care. Now, some people do, or the people who do care, they already know.
Yeah.
The pilgrim is caught by Turkey. In this movie, I don't believe they ever actually get a name, but as I'll go off of acknowledging that the second movie that's called the third movie exists.
Right.
And canonically, the character's name is Turkey, spelled Turkie. Get it? It's different and weird.
Oh, it's a demon turkey.
Yeah, Turkey is puppeted and voiced by Jordan Downey, our director and co-writer. And he does a job.
He certainly does. Do you think that, what's his name? Because the entire time I was watching this movie, I could only think of Rick Sanchez whenever I heard the turkey talk. What's his name? Justin Roiland. You think he saw this movie and was like, yeah, that's Rick Sanchez for sure?
I mean, I didn't really... I can see that now that you said it, but I didn't... Maybe. I mean... Yeah, I guess.
This is just one of the thoughts that kept up popping into my brain as I watched this really awful movie.
That's fair. Turkey then gives a 3-word quip where I can only say the word nice.
Yeah.
He says nice something something. Can't say the rest because we made rules that we don't curse.
He does compliment her white meat.
Yes.
And then kill her.
Yeah. Killing her with a tomahawk in a Scream-style transition, which is way too nice. But technically, it's that, like, slashing motion that turns into the title card. As a huge Scream fan, it feels wrong to even say that, but I wrote it down because it is technically true. This is a Scream-style transition into our title card.
Yeah.
We then get our credits that are only about a minute and a half, but they repeat the same music/sound effects every 5 to 10 seconds or so, so it's really grating. It's very
and it's not great music or sound effects.
No, but it's just it's repeated so much that you're like, oh, all right. Yeah. Okay, we're repeating again. Okay.
You're ready for the credits to be over as soon as they start.
And we are now in, I guess, it doesn't tell us, but I guess we're in present day 2008. I mean, you can definitely tell as you watch this movie because this movie was shot for $3,500 and is a time capsule of 2008 because of it.
And it really feels like it was shot for $3,500 in 2008.
Yeah. And we're at a college campus where 2 girls are walking up the sidewalk. The girls are Allie, played by Natasha Cordova, and Kristen, played by Lindsay Anderson, who was also in the movie Terra Firma, which is a, what's the name of the studio? I'm blanking on it. A Trauma film. It's another, like, B-level horror film people who watch this might know what Trauma is, so she was also in a Trauma film.
Hot dog.
Yeah. And then we what did I say? Lost my place. And then out of a building come out our jock character Johnny, who is played by Lance Predmore, who was in a movie called Elementary, An Education in Death. Which, here's the thing, I've never heard of this crappy horror movie, but I just thought that title was so kind of cool/bad that I had to bring it up. I have no idea what the quality of this movie is. The fact that they hired this actor, who is somehow, in a movie this bad of acting, one of the worst actors in the movie. So, I probably wouldn't watch Elementary, An Education in Death, but it is a kind of cool title.
It's a pretty funny title.
So I had to bring up the movie just for the title. And for the sake of padding the podcast.
Right.
Then we have our knockoff Larry the Cable Guy, Billy. Who is played by Aaron Ringhiser-Carlson. It's a long name.
All right, Billy.
Yeah. Billy rips his tank top to reveal his chest to hopefully get Allie to do the same. Oh, sorry. And I was jumping ahead. And I quote, show her big old tiggos, which is just what?
Yeah.
Which is, I'll be honest, this movie
no one has ever said ever.
No, but slight spoiler. I mean, here's the movie's garbage. But this lines like this and deliveries like this throughout the movie are what make it watchable. Is laughing at how bad it is. Like, big old tiggos is like the stupidest line I've ever heard, and I love it for it. I also like that it isn't a real phrase anyone uses, so I can say it without any worry of getting in trouble, because tiggos isn't a thing.
Big old tiggos.
Which, after he says that line, Allie does flash her bra at the boys.
Yeah.
Saying spring break, which is Thanksgiving break. I thought that was just the movie being so cheap that they didn't realize they made a mistake. But my dad did point out as we watched this that her character whole trait is that she's stupid, so it probably was on purpose that she says spring break. So
probably, yeah.
But as I watched this movie, I went, did they not even know what movie? Like, do they not realize this error? But I think it might have been on purpose to show how stupid Allie is, because she's stupid.
Yeah, she's a stupid girl who is promiscuous.
She has loose morals. And while she's still got her bra hanging out, Kristen promptly covers up and then also has a really crappy boob-themed play on words with Thanksgiving. Can't say it once again, because, hey, the word she uses to replace thanks is one of the 7 dirty words that you can't say on television, according to George Carlson.
Yep.
Is that right? George Carlson?
I don't know.
Oh, crap. I don't want to say the wrong name again. Look it up real quick. I think it's George Carlton? Something.
The 7 bad words of TV.
We'll take that.
Carlin.
I knew it was close. See, I'm sorry, comedy fans. See, he's a real comedian with a lot of talent, which is why I couldn't remember his name after watching this movie, because this movie is not that. Except for the few times where it is, which really baffles me how they can... We'll get to those scenes when they happen. There are a few scenes that are genuinely just, like, hilariously written, and I don't understand how a writer could write that and then write the rest of this movie. But we'll get to those scenes much later in the movie. Yeah, George Carlin, that makes a lot more sense. I knew the name was wrong. But hey, we caught it in the moment this time. I'm not having to edit in me making a correction like I did last week.
Nice.
Yeah, then, after she covers up her boobs, the footage gets sped up for a couple of seconds for no reason.
Yeah.
Before they're joined by Darren, who is played by Ryan E. Francis, who since has produced 2 different documentaries on cryptids. Just putting it out there. Apparently he's big into cryptids because he's produced 2 different documentaries about it. About 2 different cryptids. Well, I don't know if they were 2 different cryptids. One of them was like, I didn't do any research on it because I didn't care. One of them was like called like Mothman, and the other one was just like some like town name monster. When I was like, maybe that still could have been a Mothman. Maybe it's 2 different documentaries about Mothman. I don't know. But he's big into cryptids now, producing documentaries on them.
Fascinating.
Darren and Johnny have an awkward conversation about Johnny being the backup quarterback of the football team. The new football guy is Trent. That's the word I'm going with, football guy. Johnny then says, and I quote, "Trent is Trent, but Johnny he's Johnny," which is another one of those lines where it's just so stupid. I love it. Because it's also, the delivery is terrible because, like I said earlier, Johnny and Kristen are the 2 worst actors in them. I didn't say that about Kristen yet, but she's also terrible. They are so bad. Like, so horrendously bad. And what makes it worse is, spoiler, I don't care.
They're the main characters.
They're the 2 main characters. They are the main 2. She is our final girl, and he is the love interest. Like, it is, there are a couple other characters where, like, yeah, they're still not good. Like, Billy is not a good actor, but he's trying. Like, I can tell that, what's his name? I want to give him name credit again. Lost play. Aaron Ringhiser-Carlson is trying his darndest. And, I respect him for trying. He didn't quite get there, but he tried. I don't respect Star of Elementary. He did not try. Before, then Johnny has Darren feel his buff arm.
Yeah.
Because reasons.
And the most weirdly, like, homoerotic scene in this movie.
Yeah. Well, no. I'm gonna say it's not, actually.
Yeah, that's fair.
We'll get to that later. The crew then leaves in Johnny's Jeep.
One of my favorite snes in the movie is that other scene that we're going to talk about
It's a great scene. We'll get to that scene when we get to. I want to talk about that scene because that scene deserves to be talked about. They leave in Johnny's Jeep. We then cut to the forest where we meet Oscar, who is played by General Bastard. He's a musician that also did some of the composing on the additional music of this movie.
Oh, boy. What a star-studded cast we have.
Yeah, and his dog Flashy, played by Jake.
Oh, they got Jake the dog?
Yeah.
That's crazy. And General Bastard?
And General Bastard. But to be fair, General Bastard is probably the best actor in the movie. Like, don't get me wrong, it's still not good, but he's definitely the best.
Yeah, it's a fair assessment.
Like, he is like the caliber where we would make fun of his bad acting, but we wouldn't hate it if he was in like a better movie. Like, you'd be like, oh, that was a little rough, but you'd be like, oh, it was a little rough. But in this movie, you're like, this guy's actually almost passable.
If he was an actor in Hatchet, you'd be like, yeah, all right.
I'd be like, oh, okay, this makes sense. And in this movie, I'm like, oh, he's God's gift to acting.
By comparison, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, behind only Jake, who plays Flashy.
Right.
We then head back to the Jeep, where they talk about what they are thankful for, which includes a flashback of Johnny catching a football with his dad. Once again, honestly, really well done comedy, which is a shame because I'd say 90% of the comedy in this movie does not work at all when they're trying to be funny.
Yeah.
But they do have some gems of actual comedic talent in there, like, because Johnny's talking about like, oh, back in the day, and then they cut to what obviously was shot like a day before. Like, he doesn't look any younger, and it's him catching a football in slow motion and like sepia tone. It's amazing. Like, it's great. You can tell that the co-writer who was filming the Funny or Die videos paid attention to one or two of them and was able to like understand comedy a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, what else do we have? Towards the end, Darren exclaims that he is going to play harmonica with someone in the car on this trip.
Yeah. Couldn't have said anything less creepy.
Yeah. Allie says it won't be her because she's a prude, which everyone else thinks isn't true, including Kristen, who says the hilarious and timely joke, "Oh, please, Allie, your legs are harder to shut than the JonBenet Ramsey case."
Yep.
Which, I guess if you don't know what that case is, it was about a little girl who was murdered, and that murder happened, though, 12 years before this movie.
Yep.
So, it wasn't relevant at all, but the carload, they find the joke pretty funny. Just remember that joke. Remember that joke, maybe. Maybe that joke will be relevant. Who knows? We'll move on, though. We won't harp on that joke, but just maybe remember that joke.
Very important joke.
Yeah.
Very, very funny and relevant joke. So
Very
much so
funny
that we may or may not revisit it.
I don't know what we're talking about. Back to Oscar, who's calling out for Flashy, but Flashy is off, peeing on the grave of Turkey, resurrecting him, a la, I believe that's Nightmare on Elm Street 5? Might be 4.
Yep.
It's 4, actually. It is 4.
Grave and you resurrect him from the dead.
Yeah, it actually is 4 because I remember one of the Dream Warriors was back in that scene where it happens. So
yeah, it's true.
So it was 4. I remembered it is 4, which would make it the Dream Master. I am a horror podcast producer. I know horror movies.
I thought 4 was Dream Warriors and 5 was Dream Master.
No, 3 is Dream Warriors.
Oh, yeah. And 4 is Dream Master and 5 is Dream Baby.
Dream Child. But yes.
Yeah.
And then Freddy's Dead, the final nightmare.
Yeah.
And then there was New Nightmare after that. Don't ask.
Right.
But yeah, so he pees on the grave, bringing back Turkey, and leading to Turkey saying that he's pissed, which, I'll be honest, one of the few Turkey quips that actually didn't like make me laugh, but made me smirk a little bit. Like, I was like, okay, that's a funny play on words. Most of the Turkey quips, especially when Turkey's trying to be funny, it doesn't work. So I will give them the most, like, barely a thumbs up on like, I almost made an okay joke there. I mean, it's low-hanging fruit. It is the most obvious joke to make, but they made it. So,
yeah,
good for them.
One of my favorite turkey scenes isn't even like a joke. It's just, well, we'll get to it.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get to it. We've got time.
What does that say?
He kills the dog.
And then he kills Flashy. I wrote call Flashy. I think I meant they killed Flashy.
And then he calls Flashy.
He kills him. Then we head to the Sheriff Rudd. I don't remember how it's pronounced. It's R-O-U-D. I don't remember how it's supposed to be pronounced. We'll just call him the Sheriff going forward. He's played by Chuck the Dead Body Guy Lamb. Apparently, he was in a couple episode of a TV show and a commercial before this, and in his hometown of I want to say it was Cleveland, he was kind of known as the dead body guy.
Ah, Cleveland, Ohio.
Yeah.
Wow.
I could be wrong about being Cleveland. It might have been Cincinnati. I think it was Ohio for sure though. And his wife Cheryl, who is played by Pat Love, reveals that she has crapped in his coffee and she wants a divorce, and then we never see her again.
Yep.
But it does lead to one of the few times where I think in the script they wanted me to laugh that I did, so we'll get to that in a scene.
That's fair. Yeah.
Then he gets a call from Ghostface. No, actually, it's just Kristen, who's his daughter, by the way. And she's telling him she's a couple hours away, and he asks her if she'll be able to go to the annual policeman's Thanksgiving ball tonight. She says yes, she'll be back. And he also then adds, as she's saying, "Oh, also, your stepmom left me," and it's such a quick, his delivery is so wait, what? He's just so upbeat about it. It was funny. Honestly, I think I take back what I said about General Bastard. I actually do think Chuck Lamb is actually the star of the movie. He is, multiple of his scenes actually do land as comedy when they're supposed to be comedies. I will give Chuck Lamb credit. But yeah, so his wife left him, but remember though, he told her that the police dance is tonight. Just want to remember that when it isn't tonight, and we find out later it's actually tomorrow when she's not home tonight. Just remember that it was tonight. Couldn't reshoot a scene though, not on this budget.
We only have so many hours on that camcorder.
Then the sun sets, and the Jeep gets sick, so they have to pull over. Allie thinks that the overheated car has a flat tire, because haha, she's stupid. They decide to camp there on the side of the road for the night, because, that's a normal place to camp.
Yeah.
Darren finds a sign for Crawberg, and he tells the others about the legend of Crawberg, and an animation done by Anthony Wilson, which actually, it's well drawn. I'll give him that. It's got a silly little art style that I kind of like. It's a little grotesque for the sake of grotesque, kind of Ren and Stimpy-esque in that sense. But I respect it for what it is. It's
definitely feels like a animation style I would have seen in a video on Facebook in 2008.
It's fair, but I think it's well done. I'm not gonna. I'll give Anthony Wilson credit for his drawing ability. It was well done.
It was well.
It was well.
With my soul.
Crawberg was a pilgrim settlement back in the 1500s, where a Native American named Feathercloud, was dishonored by a pilgrim named Chuck Langston, Billy's ancestor.
That's not a mother.
I know, but it had Billy. The name Billy was there.
Billy.
Yeah, I had the name Billy there. I had to do it.
That is one half of the joke,
yeah.
Yes.
Feathercloud necromanced a turkey to roam the earth every 505 years to kill the first humans he made contact with, especially white people, because, white man's crimes and all that. But also, that time that they give, that classic movie thing of giving an exact year that does not add up with what the movie does. 505 years kind of adds up with the 1500s, but we did see Turkey alive at 1621, which would not have been 500 years before. So don't say that the settlement was in 1500, because then he wouldn't have been around to... But whatever. Whatever. Don't use... You think they cared when they wrote this script? No. Everyone thinks his story is stupid and unbelievable. Darren says there's actually a lot of books on it, and Turkeyologists around the world now know this story as ThanksKilling.
Yeah.
The movie ended, right? Because they said the title and it's over, and we'll see you next week.
Credits.
No, it's not actually. The movie's... We're only like 20 minutes in, if that.
Crazy.
Kristen asks Johnny to spend the night in her tent, and he seems interested. Allison then offers him a spot in hers, but, he doesn't really care. We then head to Oscar, who finds Turkey over a dead Flashy. Turkey makes a crappy accident joke, and Oscar shoots him, and Turkey runs away. Because he killed him with an axe. Get it? It was an accident. It's really funny. It's so funny that Turkey had to explain the joke. Literally in the movie, he explains the joke. Which, I'll be honest, like, the joke is bad, but having your character explain your bad joke does, like, elevate the joke, like, one step. Like, it does make me go, like, okay, I kind of like when a character explains their bad joke. I'll be, don't get me wrong, the joke still sucks. But I'll give him that one step up from pure rock bottom for him explaining the joke.
Yeah. Get a half smile out of that.
Yeah, and Turkey runs away. Back to the campers, and Kristen heads off to tell her dad she's fine, and she will be home tomorrow for that banquet. That's tomorrow. Not tonight, like it was said earlier in the movie. It's tomorrow. Because, and they should have known that, because she was going to get stuck in the forest tonight, but they still said it was tonight. Whatever.
Yeah.
Why would that be a thing? Why would, continuity matter?
I mean, it's this movie.
She's kind of spooked while she's out there, and she's telling herself there's no such thing as an evil turkey. She's repeating that to herself a couple times. Then Turkey repeats it, saying, and then ends with, like, I lied, and jumps toward her. But seems to be stopped by her screams. I guess he's just irritated by it. At first, when I was watching this movie and not remembering it, because I had sadly seen this movie before, I thought, like, oh, maybe she had, like, some sort of magic voice over him, like, the cries of the white woman stopped him or some stupid convoluted crap. But no, he's just, I guess, irritated by her scream and doesn't pursue her. Oh, sorry. While she's running away, though, Turkey does say, I'll drink your blood like cranberry sauce. Which, you see, that's funny. Because that's a Thanksgiving food. And he's a turkey. I don't think you get the joke, Chris. It's funny because of Thanksgiving.
No, it's not.
That's the point. If you couldn't get that, that was a bit. That was me making fun of it. It is not funny. I want to make sure. I want to have my comedy card. I don't know if it's not a thing, but if it is, I don't want mine revoked for thinking that was actually funny. It wasn't. I am making fun of how stupid the joke is. Yeah. Alright, now that that's out of the way, we can move on.
Cranberry sauce.
Kristen comes back to camp, but no one will take her seriously. But Johnny kind of seems to be taking her seriously. But when he looks around and doesn't see Turkey, he says that they should just, all just go to bed and go to sleep. And then Kristen is really mad because Johnny doesn't believe her, and she thought he would believe her, so she heads off to her tent. Then a baby bunny comes flying in and falls into the fire for reasons.
Yeah, sure, that's what that is.
That's what they say.
That is what they say.
Its stomach has... Yeah. Its stomach has been gnawed out by a turkey beak.
Yeah.
And everyone starts to worry, and Johnny tells them to calm the F down. And that's an actual quote, which is funny, genuinely like a funny line for me, because he says, like, the F word later. Like, it's not like the actor wasn't getting... Like, he says it. Like, he has no problem saying it. So for any person who does say the F word to then go, calm the F down, is hilarious.
Yeah, it's pretty comical.
And then he heads to his tent heads to the other tent to go to bed. Darren follows suit. And then Allie goes to a tent, to the girls' tent, I guess now, as well, after rejecting Billy, who tries to, make a little advance at her. But, she's not willing to be with him. But maybe tomorrow, she said. But I think she might have been just trying to shut him up. In the morning, Billy wakes up to Oscar telling him he saved him from turkey last night, and points to the turkey droppings on top of him as proof.
Which definitely aren't just bloody marshmallows.
Yeah, if that. I don't know. I thought to me they looked more like Cocoa Puffs. But I don't know what they were, actually. But they're turkey droppings, actually, what they really were. They actually had a turkey poop on him.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I believe it. Then they leave, and the crew heads off in their Jeep. I believe, if I remember right, this scene is, not so long, but definitely them getting in the Jeep is a longer scene than it should be. And it was that first point in the movie where I really realized, oh, they didn't even have an hour of story to film. Because there are multiple times where they just are lingering on shots, and you're like, huh, all right. And we still were only able to get to an hour and 6 minutes with all this fluff? All right.
They are scrounging for every second they can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the Jeep, Johnny gives Billy crap for believing in the killer turkey. But Allie now does believe him. Kristen apologizes for getting mad at Johnny last night. That's really the whole scene. It goes on for longer than that, but that's the gist of it.
Yeah.
We then head to Turkey, who's hitchhiking on the side of the road. The driver, who is played by Steve Steinmetz, says Turkey has to, pay for the ride, either with harmonica, gas money, or weed. He uses a different term that rhymes that I can't use because it has a naughty word in it.
Yeah.
So Turkey chooses harmonica, and then the man starts to, unbutton his pants and comment on how attractive Turkey is. But Turkey pulls a shotgun on him, thankfully, ending whatever was about to happen there. He then also has him call his daughter, and while he's on the phone with her, he kills him. That's just screwed up.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I wish the setup of the scene didn't happen, because the setup wasn't funny, but it was trying to be. But the complete, wait, what? He's on the phone with his daughter and gets shot in the head while it's happening? That's, darkly comedic. It's a shame that it was surrounded by stupid.
Yeah.
Which I feel like the kind of the mindset of any of the funny moments in this movie is, I wish it wasn't surrounded by the rest of this movie.
Yeah.
Then Turkey drives off. Back to the Jeep crew, and they drop off Allie, who thanks Johnny for the ride with a kiss. And then Kristen says that she does that with everyone, saying it's like her legs are harder to shut than the John Benet Ramsey case.
Yep.
And the boys love the joke even more than before.
Yep.
They love this joke, which I will say, bringing this stupid joke back for no reason again, made it almost funny. It still isn't quite funny, but it's the same kind of thing of having Turkey explain the joke. The moment where you watch and you're like, did they forget that they already had that joke in the movie? You have that moment where you're like, wait, what's going on here? Why are they, what? But, it is what it is. That joke is apparently the funniest joke ever, and very relevant in 2008.
Yeah. Extremely.
Quick shot of Oscar walking on the road, which is normally a shot I would leave out, but this movie is very short, so I will mention every scene that happens, even if it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's fair.
Then we head to Johnny at a door, and it's opened by Johnny's mother, who is played by Jessica Reese. She encourages him to talk to his dad, who is played by Terry Regan, who is upset with Johnny for being the second-string quarterback. Johnny lies to his dad to try and make things better. His dad seems happy. But then Turkey shows up and chops off Johnny's dad's head and tells Johnny to go deep and throws it at him.
Yeah.
Johnny runs inside and finds his mom dead too, with that classic horror movie, especially cheap horror movies, the standing dead body who, to make the person not realize they were dead, but makes no sense if you think about it for even half a second.
Yeah.
Johnny is driving off, and he's really sad about how there's no more pumpkin pie and no more cranberry sauce, just turkey. Which was also, once again, a kind of funny scene because of how stupid it is. Like, it's just so wait, what? That's what he's crying about right now? That he's not going to have pumpkin pie and cranberry sauce? Not the fact that his parents are dead?
All the worst things in life are happening to Johnny right now.
I agree.
No more pumpkin pie.
He then meets with everyone but Allie to tell them that his parents are dead. This scene is what's the word I'm looking for? Intercut is what I wrote. Intercut with a scene where Allie does fully clothed harmonica playing with her boyfriend, who is played by the cinematographer and co-writer Kevin Stewart. Woo, Kevin Stewart!
Yeah.
Turkey then kills the boyfriend by slitting his throat. Then he takes over and he finishes with a stuffing joke before snapping her neck.
Yeah.
The classic, for some reason, we'll find out later this year, sadly. It's a classic thing, but not classic, I mean that very, not true. I think it's horrible and I think it's stupid that we keep doing this. But for some reason, in holiday-themed horror comedies, there's always apparently a joke about, the R word that I can't say on YouTube. It's just, why are we doing this? It's not funny.
Nope.
And we'll move on. Lost my place. Then the gang arrives and Johnny goes in to check on Allie. Darren tries and fails to deliver the John Bonet joke. Then Johnny comes back out with the news of her death, a feather, and a gravy-flavored condom wrapper.
An extra small gravy-flavored condom.
They all look to Darren for answers on how to kill Turkey. And he suggests they go to the library to do some research. But it's too late at night. Thankfully, Kristen's dad has a big book collection, so they head to her house.
Yeah.
We head to the sheriff, who's dressed as a turkey, and he answers the door to see Turkey, with an IE, in the Groucho Marx, glasses with a nose deal.
Yep.
And the sheriff thinks Turkey is a little person. I also want to point out here, this is the second time I've had to do that, where I have to take out offensive terminology that this movie thought was okay, which it was 2008, so it was sadly more acceptable, but, I'll call it out for what it is. They use some, both racial slurs as well as, I guess, ableist slurs would be the term?
Also.
Yeah. But he thinks he's a little person who's friends with Kristen. They then go inside and they talk over some coffee while waiting for Kristen. Turkey is getting annoyed by the sheriff, and then he spikes the camera before we cut outside and we hear screaming. I will say about that scene that I kind of just really brushed over, it actually does have one of the funniest jokes in it, but it's all about the F word, so I can't really describe it. But it's it was kind of funny. I will give Sheriff Rowd, his actor, Chuck Lamb, did a really good job, on his delivery on some of his lines in that scene. It was really good. I'll give him big props.
It is one of the funniest scenes in the movie.
Yeah.
But not saying much, but it is one of the funniest.
Yeah. The gang shows up and goes to the door, and it's answered by Turkey in her dad's face and hat. And somehow, Kristen is oblivious, which also, once again, slight, like, smirk from me on the complete, like, this is the complete, like, outrageousness of her having to, like, go all the way down to the ground to hug him, but still think it's her dad. Like, it's so stupid, but it did, like, make me smirk. I'm not gonna lie. I think the complete outrageousness of it was mildly amusing.
Yeah. Fair.
They head to the garage to look for the book. Turkey almost slips up and reveals himself, but thankfully for him, the characters have gotten stupider for the sake of the scene, so they don't listen to him when he says that he wants to kill her. Then we get a looking for books montage, which includes a romantic moment between Kristen and Johnny, and Darren teaching Billy how to read, as well as Billy eating like fries. They then find the book, and then we also, after they find the book, we find out that the whole like searching scene actually only took 5 minutes, which also got a chuckle out of me, because like when you have montage, it's normally supposed to be like a long bit of time. And they have Billy like go like, oh, it took forever. And Kristen goes, it was 5 minutes. And that got me. Because I was like, oh, okay, all right, movie. You guys almost know how to be funny sometimes. It's a shame that the rest of the movie surrounds it.
Yeah, it really is.
And then we also find out that they have to separate... Yeah, they have to separate Turkey from his magical talisman. He's hiding in his plumage. Sadly, they don't know how to kill him yet, because the rest of the book is written in a mathematical code. You know, because of course it is. Billy leaves to go look for some food because he's really hungry because he's fat. That's his character. But he ends up finding Turkey dragging the, like, skinned face corpse of the sheriff. Then Turkey monologues about how the white man deserves this for what they did to the Native Americans. And it was that moment where I'm like, maybe Turkey's right. Maybe Turkey... It's a shame that, once again, it's kind of like this movie... Turkey had some really good points. It's a shame all the horrible crimes he committed surrounding them, because now I can't be on his side.
Yeah, no. Turkey is irredeemable at this point.
Yeah. Billy grabs Turkey, and Johnny removes the talisman, but Turkey gets free and runs away. Billy leaves angry that they couldn't kill Turkey. Darren goes back to work on the equation, and then Johnny and Kristen have a heart-to-heart about how life isn't like football. And then they're about to kiss when Darren comes in with the cracked code. They can kill Turkey by burning him at the stake while saying a demonic prayer backwards in unison.
Yeah.
The book says Turkey will be in his teepee, or killing one of your friends. And then they realize, oh no, Billy. So we head outside to Billy walking, holding his stomach, because he's so hungry, because his character's fat. He then sees a glowing clip art turkey, literally calling his name, so he eats it. Then Turkey bursts out his gut in some genuinely, like, respectfully, like, cool practical effects. And Turkey says the tagline, gobble gobble, mother effer, and then goes full late in the franchise, Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, Freddy, and double quips with, that's what I call foul play. He's like, I'm going to do 2 quips per kill now, because I am wacky. And it's like, no, you get 1. And I don't even want those 1, honestly. If you could just not talk, it'd be better. But if you're going to do 1, fine. You don't get 2 quips.
Yeah.
Then the Jeep rides up and on Billy's mangled body, and Darren has an honestly, like, weirdly sad / sweet scene holding him like repeatedly talk about how he's his best friend and how he's cool now because of him, and then we get a quick shot of. Wait, no, I jumped too far.
Musical montage?
Yeah, we go to our flashback montage of their friendship set to this amazingly humorous song about you were my best friend, now you're just my dead best friend. Billy, Billy, Billy. Like, it's so good. Like, it is so funny. It is, like, genuinely funny. And it's such a shame. I know I've said it multiple times, but, like, this is the most of it because this is the most, like, actually funny thing in this movie. And it's just... It deserved to be in a better movie because this scene is genuinely funny.
The scene felt like a Funny or Die skit that was funny.
Yeah.
And everything around it wasn't.
Yeah.
Or almost everything around it.
Yeah, there's a couple other moments here and there, but yeah, overall. But,
a couple of other funny skits on their own.
Yeah.
Combined into a giant soup is just a mess.
Yeah, but huge shout out for this scene because it was hilarious.
Yeah.
Then we head into a quick shot of Turkey tossing a salad in his teepee. Haha, get it? Remember how we just had a really funny joke? Now we're having the joke where the joke is just he's making a salad and saying, "Oh, tossing it." And that's the joke. Because if you didn't know, tossing the salad is actually a euphemism for something dirty. Oh, this movie's so naughty.
Yeah.
It really made me mad. Because it came after such a good joke to then just go to such a... Like, that's lower than the... That's like the lowest bar joke in the movie. Because every other time, like, even like it's that or, the opening not joke of, nice boobs. But at least that, like, for whatever reason, her boobs are there. Which, once again, I guess same idea. They put her boobs there just so they can make the joke. They put the salad here just so they can make the joke. They're both equally bad. But they're terrible, and I'm mad at them.
Yeah, they both suck.
Yeah.
I agree.
Then the Jeep shows up outside the teepee. And their plan is for Kristen and Johnny to distract Turkey so Darren can sneak in, attack, and tie up Turkey.
Yeah, tie him up with rope, in quotes.
Yeah.
It is just string.
Yeah.
I would like to say that it is not rope.
Fair enough. They head inside, and it's much bigger inside. Just pointing it out.
Yeah.
The TV's really small outside, and then it's just really big inside, which... Well, I don't know if that was supposed to be funny, but it was mildly amusing to me when they went from such a small TV outside to a big giant thing inside. I was like, oh, that's funny. But also not. It's just, I guess, where this movie has got my brain, where even that's like, it's bigger inside. And that's funny to me now. Darren ties him up, and they say the prayer, and are about to light him on fire, but Turkey's able to get free, and he runs outside into a gunshot from Oscar.
Hey, Oscar.
Yeah, Oscar showed up. Remember when we talked about him on the road? See, it was important. He's flung back into a trash can. Kristen, Johnny, and Darren come out, and they're concerned that the turkey was killed the wrong way, but think he's definitely dead once they see his, bloody face. Turkey's eye starts to turn green as they talk over his corpse. Before the hermit leaves the gang. Also, I will say, when he does leave, right before he leaves, he actually does have, a kind of funny line. He's like, I lost my dog, and someday you'll know what it's like to lose someone you love, like a friend, your parents. And I was like, all right, okay, movie. You occasionally have funny
your
lines.
Your parents or your best friend.
Yeah. It's like, oh.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
So but then the rest of the gang, they decide that they don't know what else to do, so they're going to go back to Kristen's house to watch the movies, because, what else could they do now?
Yeah.
We then get a quick shot of the now glowing trash can, which is marked radioactive. Oh no! We then head to them watching Night of the Living Dead, because, it was in public domain, and therefore they could play it for free. That's really the answer. That's why it's there.
Yeah. I mean, fair. Gotta keep that budget under $3,500.
I don't know what the... Okay. Johnny asks Kristen to go out with him, and then they start making out right in front of Darren.
And they fall off the couch.
Yeah, then there's a zipper sound, implying that they're playing harmonica right in front of Darren. So Darren he leaves to go pee.
I think I'm gonna go pee.
Yeah. Post pee in the kitchen, Darren gets a meat thermometer in the butt and gets tackled by a now radioactive turkey. Darren gets his tongue ripped out and his chest pecked through and his still beating heart ripped out. And once again, some other cool effects. Respect. I mean, it's not like the greatest effects ever, but when I know the movie was made with, a $3,000 budget, these are pretty good effects for that budget. Like, this looks kind of cool. Oh yeah, then we see Billy calling Darren up to heaven, and telling him like, "There's no turkeys up here. God's waiting. Come on!" Once again, really funny joke that doesn't deserve to be in this movie.
Fair.
Then Johnny is woken up by Turkey's laugh, or maybe a dream. We then find out later in this dialogue, I guess. Kristen's also woken up by him waking up. And Kristen tells Johnny that, Turkey can't be alive. And Johnny says, unless he fell into some radioactive waste. But they laugh off that absurdity. That could only happen in a movie.
Yeah.
And technically this is a movie, so it could happen.
Technically, it is over 50 minutes, yeah.
Yeah. Johnny goes off to check on Darren. Johnny finds his corpse and is about to tell Kristen when he turns around and to Turkey, who stabs him in the gut with an electric knife because, look at him, he's Leatherface, which is a reference to Idle Hands. Idle Hands fans will get that joke. If you're not an Idle Hands fan, I'll move on. Kristen runs in and punches Turkey and carries Johnny out to a shed in her backyard. When Turkey follows them in, Kristen is ready with a homemade spray paint lighter flamethrower and sets him ablaze. Then Johnny dies in Kristen's arms. Then burning Turkey starts to rise up, and Kristen remembers, oh yeah, we have to burn him on a stake. So she picks up a bat and she hits him into just, a pyre that happens to be in her backyard, like we all have.
Yeah, everyone's got a fire.
Who doesn't have one? What if you need one for cases like this? And then Oscar shows back up for literally no reason, and Kristen takes a bite out of Turkey. Then we head to a family having Thanksgiving dinner. Woo! And after a kind of long prayer, because, gotta pad that runtime, after it's finished, Turkey jumps up and teases a potential sequel. Then we see To Be Continued. In space! Oh!
Ah!
Yay. And it does get continued. This movie got a slight cult classic status for being one of those so bad you have fun watching it, making fun of it with your friends kind of movie. So they ended up 4 years later raising over $100,000 on a crowdfunding website to make a sequel, and they did.
Hey, that's way over their budget.
Yeah, and it's not good. I hope we never cover it, but I'm sure you won't let that happen, our audience. So someday maybe we'll suffer through that movie for you.
Maybe.
Who knows? That's not happening now, though. So, our final thoughts are, this peek behind the curtain. We are recording this after because we both hated this movie so much we forgot to do this in the main podcast. This movie sucks, guys. Here's the thing. I will say, I think there are a few funny scenes. We talked about them. I think genuinely the montage song is hilarious. The friendship montage, the Billy Billy Billy, is great. It deserves so much to be in a better movie. Honestly, I will say I think Billy, I think he deserved to be in a better movie because he tried. He failed, but he tried. And so many people in this movie didn't seem to try, including our writers and everyone else involved. I wish it got more. It deserved more. He deserved more. Sorry, Billy deserved more. as well as that scene. Also, like, here's the thing. I think this is a movie that, like, if you can watch this with a friend and just have fun crapping on, if you like crapping on movies, this could be a fun movie to crap on with some friends. Like, it's that kind of movie. It's got enough charm to not be unbearable to watch, in my opinion, at least. Like, especially because it's only an hour. Like, if it was an hour and 40 minutes, like a sequel that it might have, maybe that would be hard to watch. But, you know, it knew what it was and said, hey, we'll give you barely enough to be a feature. And, you know, it has its charm, and it has more than its share of flaws. Yeah, that's my thoughts. It's not good. It's not a good movie. Odds are, if you haven't seen it, you could probably skip it. You'll be fine. Your life will not be any worse for it.
Yeah. Yeah. I was reluctant to watch this movie starting it, and seeing the hour runtime. When I went to go watch it, I was like, oh, okay, cool. Only an hour. This will be easy. And yet, I found myself multiple times throughout the movie going, how much left is longer? Or how much longer is left in this movie?
This movie broke his brain, guys. He doesn't know how to speak anymore.
Yeah. I had a stroke watching this movie. No, it is really that bad throughout most of the movie. There are parts that are comical, but they are like 1 to 2 minute scenes that are, you know, interspersed throughout a 60-minute runtime. And I'll say like 2 or 3, so a total of at max 6 minutes of this 1/10 at max. And that's being generous of the 60-minute runtime.
I think
barely over 60 minutes.
I think we might hit 4 minutes of the hour and 4 minutes that are worth watching personally, but you know.
So if you want to see 1 or 2 punchlines that are kind of funny, I guess watch this. And if you don't want to watch a lot of trash, don't watch this. This movie is probably best enjoyed while not in a sober state of mind. And that's all I can say about it.
That's fair. That's fair. But yeah, now for the rest of the outro. Because next week, we're going to be taking one last stop before we get into the Christmas season. So we have one last stop where we're going to talk about another movie about a weird killer. Not a killer turkey. Next week, we're going to be talking about a killer tire. Because next week, we're talking about the movie Rubber.
Help us all.
Yeah, so Rubber is next week. We can watch Rubber. And if you like this podcast, leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast app you watch this on. Or you listen to it on podcast apps. You don't watch it. But whatever you listen to on, give us a 5-star review. Tell us you like it. Tell a friend about it. If you got a friend that likes horror movies, tell them about our podcast. That'd be cool. Help us grow our audience. What else? If you're on YouTube, subscribe, like, comment. Tell a friend. Please tell a friend. Tell your friends about the podcast. We want to grow the podcast. Please tell your friends. Also, I guess if you want to help us directly, you can head on over to patreon.com/horrorboys, where you can get this podcast early. What? That's right. Every week you get it at least a couple days early, depending on when I edit it. So yeah, you can get it early. That's cool. Also, there's other things we might give you if you started giving us money. So give us money. That'd be cool. Money's cool. I'd like to make money. Yeah. But we have been the Horror Boys. This has been a podcast. I'm Austin. I've been joined by Chris, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.